Hi everyone, welcome to Module 8 of our Born to Shine Leadership Training and Mentorship brought to you by Talawa Justice for Women in partnership with the Wellspring Foundation, the University of Nottingham, GWEDG, and also we've been doing some interesting work with members at Elefante Commons. So today we're going to be looking at project management. So project management is a huge subject, and so we can't cover all of that. This is just going to be an introductory overview to some project management aspects as they are relevant to non-profit organizations. So we're going to be looking at tasks, program and progress. We'll look at budget and financial management, and we'll look at reporting and document control. So let's get into it. So in project management, there's something called the PMBOK, or the Project Management Body of Knowledge. And this is a very powerful, valuable resource that is being used to manage all kinds of projects internationally. And so it has 12, or I think now it's 14 knowledge areas, but we're just going to simplify it and focus on these 6 for now. And so scope, we start with scope, and scope simply means like, what are you going to do? What are you planning to do? And then time, what is the time frame to get it completed? Cost, quality, resources, and communication. So project management, what is it? So just to put those things more simply, those terms I just introduced, scope is what are we doing, time is how long will it take, cost is obviously how much will it cost, quality is how good are we doing. So in our previous module we talked about monitoring and evaluation, but it all depends on the type of your project. So once upon a time long ago, I worked in the civil engineering construction industry, and so if you want to measure your quality of your project, you have to look at the quality of your concrete, for example, on site. So we test the concrete so that later on down the line you don't have a problem. You can see how strong your concrete is. But there are many other kinds of measures, as we already discussed, depends on your project. So in terms of resources, it's about what and who do we need. So there are all kinds of materials and equipment and things that you need to do certain types of projects, and who do we need? So people, human resources as well. And communication is all about how well we interact. So if you have a simple project and a small team, it's quite easy to manage communication, and you just have a few basic protocols to ensure that there's no problems. But when you get to these bigger projects with lots of people, then you need more systems, more control over communications, who can communicate with who and how. You sometimes have to formalize certain communications for legal and cost purposes. So again, in the construction industry, when an engineer goes to site and signs off on a certain piece of work, then there's a form for that. Or when there's a request for an inspection, there's a form for that. When there's a variation order, something has changed from the design, there's a form for that, so that there's a document trail for everything. So you have to discuss and decide the level of control that you need. So something that's very important is the program. So that's the project plan and all the tasks on a timeline like this. So each of your tasks you break it down. You've got your main tasks, and then you subdivide that. You've got subtasks under each main task, and then they've got the date there when it's due, and then the duration and the planned resources. And then there's a Gantt chart, which is just a bar diagram that shows how much time. It's on a kind of a calendar, so that you can see, okay, today we are here and we should be nearly finished with this piece of work, and why are we not? So you can track your progress on a daily basis, and you can see what's coming up next. And so it's a really useful, powerful tool. And even if you don't have project, this is a Microsoft project, but you can do the similar thing on Excel. It will just take you a bit longer to set up all the things yourself. And so I didn't have MS Project, so for this project I did my own little project progress. I call it my Project Central, and it's got this similar thing. It's got the activity and the action required and the current progress and the end date, completion date, and then that bar diagram to show you where we are. And then this is all the subtasks. So there's lots of activities under each one, and I can keep track of it, and I can see, okay, at this date, particular date, what should have been finished, and if I'm not there, what's my explanation? Because I have to report to my director, and she has to report to our funders and stuff like that. So I can share with you my template, but to develop your own Excel skills, here's a little exercise for you. Use the computer to create your own Excel spreadsheet for progress and for budget. So I've got a nice progress and budget tool. I'm very happy to share it with you. But first, give it a try and see how you go. It's really useful to develop your computer skills, Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So maybe that's another training module we can do next time. Let me know what you guys think. So then getting to financial management, that's budget, procurement, receipts, accounting, reporting. There's a lot under financial management. So there's auditing. So like in many countries, when you are a registered non-profit organization, you have to submit audited financial reports every year. So I don't know if that's a requirement in Uganda as well, but some of you are not registered NPOs or NGOs, you are CBOs or other types of organizations, and it's not necessarily a requirement, but you still should have all the financial management systems and processes in place. So mainly you want to monitor, you want to track your payments and expenses, and you want to do financial reporting, and this requires accounting. So I don't know if you did accounting in high school or not, but there's very complicated accounting for big organizations and projects, and there's simplified accounting for simpler organizations and projects. And it's, to put it simply, it's about your incomes and your expenses and balancing it out. But you also have to keep track of your assets and liabilities, the things you own and the things you owe to other people. And yeah, so if you new to accounting and you need some help, we've got some tools and we can do some training on that as well. So another aspect is procurement and quotes. So when your procurement means when you're buying something. So you need something for the organization, you need something for the project, and you budgeted for it, or you trying to budget for it. So you don't just phone one supplier and ask them how much is this thing that we need. You have to shop around until you get the best price and the best quality and the best fit for your needs. And then, so generally the basic, at least 3 competitive quotes, but some people, you can keep shopping around as much as you need to find what you really need. And so you'll do that when you're building your budget to ensure that your budget figures are reasonable, because they're based on actual quotes. And you also do that when you're purchasing, when you're actually buying the stuff. So it's useful to have what do you call this? It's like a financial management manual. So all your policies and your procedures and forms are all in this manual. And you can present this to your funder as well. They'll like it very much. And yeah, so banking, your bank will give you a bank statement every month. And the bank statement is what you use to do your accounting. But also you have to be systematic about your banking and think about your cash flow and stuff like that. And then you have to keep receipts and invoices, and so that all the money that you spend from the project, you can account for it. You can show the funder that this is the where that money was spent, and we had a saving here, or we had to spend more there. And so you have to keep all these receipts, and they have to be they have to have a name of the place where you bought it, and the date, and the signature, or a stamp, or whatever it is. And so for this project, I developed a system where my line items from my budget corresponds to the receipt names. I give the number and name of the receipt according to the budget line item. So it's easy for our financial person to connect the budget line item to each of the receipts. So this I can share with you all these tools and templates. And then budgeting. So we talked about budgeting in a previous section. It's very important when you're applying for funding, when you're planning your project. And so it's important to understand your project very well so that you can include all the expenses that go into that budget. So there's also your folder system. So this is something that a lot of people neglect, and often when I meet with people and sit to train and mentor them, and then we're looking at their laptop, and then their desktop is covered with documents, and then they go looking and no, not this one. I worked for a number of years as a quality systems manager. And one of the important places one of the first places we started as document management system. And you'll be surprised how much time people waste in looking for stuff, but also getting stuff mixed up, like, which is the latest version of this document, and who was the last one who edited this document, and where did you save that version, all these things, So, you need a simple, user-friendly, relevant folder structure, So this is a quick snapshot of my folder structure. This is my personal one. My project one looks different. It all depends on what you're doing and what's important. And then there's also your file naming conventions. So first you set up your folders so that everything has a home, a logical place where it belongs. But then your file naming ensures that, as you can see, I've given it first a code in the beginning, so you know which project we're talking about. That's Born to Shine 7 Project Management. It's a short title. The date of the latest revision, this particular file, and my initial and surname. And some people include a revision or a draft code or whatever. It's not really relevant for me. But if it is for you, it's useful to bring that in. So good file names can save time. So project code, document type, name, date or last time edited, name, initial of last editor or creator of the file, folder structure, document management system. Hey, what's going on now? Okay, so budget. Personal and organizational. So we talked about budget in the previous section on resource mobilization, but just to touch on it again, you've got to include everything that's relevant to your project, and you've got to budget all your incomes into the project of funders and all your expenses, and you may not get it all perfect at the beginning of the project, so you have to decide on there are a number of different types of budgets, but basically there's these two broad categories. One is the static or fixed budget, and the other is the dynamic or flexible budget. In the static budget, your all your line items, all your budget items don't change across the life of the project, and if something does change, then you have variations which you have to justify to the funder. But in the dynamic or flexible budget, you keep updating the budget with the new values. So you say, okay, this one, instead of 3 million shillings, it's now going to be 4 million shillings because there was a price increase or whatever. And so you update that figure, and it gets approved by everyone, all the stakeholders, and shared. So yeah, budgeting, it can become quite complex with bigger projects and many budget line items, but it's quite simple and intuitive. What does complicate it a bit is the cash flow and how funds get dispersed or released over time. So they're not going to, generally, they're not going to release all the money upfront and then you spend it across the life of the project. It's usually a month by month or quarterly type thing. Sometimes the funder wants to pay directly for expenses, but yeah, that's budgeting. And then banking, managing your bank account and bank statements. So yeah, banking is quite straightforward, but you have to make sure you do it timeously, and funds are deposited into the account, and expenses are paid directly from the account. And yeah, that's your expenses column, that's your incomes column, or debit and credit, and that's your balance. So this information you're going to use to do your accounting. And yeah, so buying, we talked about procurement policy, getting 3 quotes, comparing quality, compare price, compare timing or delivery. No kickbacks, no nepotism. So that means, you know what kickbacks are? It's like when, if you buy from us, then we give you a little something under the table. And nepotism is hiring your cousin or your brother or your friend or whoever, you know. And yeah, you got to keep all your quotes and receipts, as we discussed already. And then accounting, you can use journals like physical hard copy accounting books to keep track of your incomes and expenses, or you can use software to manage your finances. There's really powerful software. I really like QuickBooks, but nowadays you have to pay a monthly subscription, and it's just really not on for most small NPOs and GOs. So people are using Excel, and you know, for a simple project, a simple organization, Excel can suffice. You just have to know what you're doing. So if you don't know how to build your own Excel accounting package, I do have some. I've got 2 templates. One is a simple one, one is more complex. You can choose between them. I wouldn't advise trying to build your own one because it's quite a mission. So yeah, there's the more powerful software can even give you charts and analysis and stuff like that. And then finally we get to auditing. And so this simply means an external auditor will come to check your finances. They'll check your bank statements against your receipts and against your financial reports, just to make sure that everything is according to what you reported according to the funds that you received, and that there's no fraud or there's no scamming, there's no people putting project money in their pockets and stuff like that. So these are some of the companies that the bigger ones that I know of. KPMG, PricewaterhouseCoopers, but you get lots of smaller auditors as well. So once again, if you have any questions, please reach out. This is on the financial management aspect. So here's a practical exercise for you. Use your computer to create your own finance folders. Or well, not just finance folders, your own folder document management system, all the folders that you need for your project. So finance is one of your main folders. So perhaps you'll start, your main folders would be things like admin, finance, communication, whatever's. I used to sit down with the team, the project manager, and help them to develop their folder structure. So you need to do that also. And then also try some kind of Excel accounting package and see if it works for you. Another practical, use the internet to search for 3 suppliers of laptops or anything else that's relevant to your projects in your region or in the country. And you can actually do that. You can even phone them up and you can get the prices, or you can email them, and just get in the habit of doing this kind of things. Okay, our next section is on reporting and writing good informative reports, and this is a very important and powerful part of project management, and I learned it early in my career. As soon as I graduated, I got this job working as a junior engineer, and there was a problem on the project that I was new to it, and I was just there a few weeks, but already I picked up that there's this problem, and the guy who was my supervisor, he's writing this very complicated report, and it's really not telling me anything. So I, in a very nice, tactful kind of way, asked if I can take over that duty from him, and he said gladly, and he gave me this thing. So I started gathering information from the projects, contacting them, creating a new simplified reporting format with charts that monitored things like water losses, tracking it across the last few months. So it shows, okay, water losses are increasing, vandalism increasing or decreasing, sales, it's a long story about the project, but what I wanted to tell you is that our company was part of a consortium, and they were about to lose their place in the consortium because of these problems. But as soon as my report came out, then they could now explain what the problems are, and they could start taking action to fix those things. And they even found cases of mismanagement and financial mismanagement. And so, my director was very happy with the report, and the senior people in the consortium were also very happy. So I learned a very important early lesson in my career about the power of a good report. But obviously it has to be simple and to the point, and contain the important information. So a good monthly report shows progress to date, gives an overview or summary, presents M&E quality review, monitoring and evaluation as well as quality, highlights issues and problems, includes pictures, graphs and tables, gives funders confidence in you and your organization. So this is my project for Born to Shine, and it's got a project dashboard, an executive summary, progress, the budget, challenges, pictures, and a look ahead to what's coming in the month ahead. Okay, and then presentations, creating an engaging PowerPoint show. So it's important to include a bit of design and make it look nice, and to use colors which can focus the attention on important things. Gone are the days where people just throw a whole lot of text on the screen and then they read it, and those kind of things are hard to follow, and it gets boring and tedious. So you got to keep it simple and uncluttered. And I mean, you've been following my presentations here in the training, so you see how I like to do things. But you might have your own way, and other people have some more dynamic and visually attractive ways. But I don't like to put too many elements on the screen. It's important, like text, and people can hear what you're saying. It's nice to be able to read something concise, but it's also nice to put pictures and images that show what you're talking about. So insert text, pics and objects and videos. Layout and size is important. Putting things in certain places and not too small and not too big. Nice that the eye can move easily across your screen. And then animation, so that things come one at a time, the way these lines are coming, and everything just doesn't suddenly appear. So as I'm talking and I click and the next thing comes, and sometimes it rolls across, sometimes it fades, sometimes it spins, whatever it is, but not too many fancy animations. Depends on your audience. Like with young people, you want to have more animated things. So yeah, also copy, paste, undo, redo. What was I trying to say there? I'm not sure. I think it's just about like the tools that you can use to simplify your workflow, and then editing and moving things around. So practicals. Use Word to create a report. Type in some information about your project, include some pictures and colors. So I've given a simple outline of the main headings you want to include in your report. It might be different for you. So you can go online and research other kind of report templates that are similar to the work you're doing. And maybe you already have a Word report, but you want to improve it, enhance it. So please feel free to send to me, and I can review and edit, and we can work together to improve your report template. And then you can then use that template and customize it for all your different projects. And then PowerPoint. Use PowerPoint to create a presentation slide with pictures and animations to pitch your project to potential funders, or to pitch your organization to anyone. And practical number 3, use Zoom to invite a guest to your meeting, then host your online meeting and record it. So I hope you're going to do your practical exercises. Some of you may already be familiar with all of these tools and be an expert, more even expert than I am. But those of you for whom it's new, please do. And if you don't have a laptop, find someone who's got a laptop and get some practice and get some exercise. And yeah, that's it. Any questions? Once again, please. I keep saying this, feel free to reach out. That's my WhatsApp number, that's my email address, and there's our website where you'll find more resources and all these training videos. And then we are also on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn and Facebook. Thank you everybody, and good luck, and bye for now.